Hello once again folks, welcome to another video from Gundog and Fly. Tá míle fáilte ród mar it's ganách. And in today's video I'm going to be talking about waders and maybe a couple of other things. I was fishing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the season so far first of all. I've never seen anything like it. It's an absolute disaster. That's the only way it can be described. We're now almost, today I think is well, there's very few days left in May anyway, and May is usually the peak of the fishing season, and some of the best fishing of the year or of the season is in the month of May. But the weather has been horrendous. There's been practically northerly or northwesterly, northeasterly airflow virtually all of the time, and that has put paid to the fishing. There's very little in the way of fish activity. Hatches of flies are very, very sparse, so fishing has been very, very bad in comparison to other years. Now I've caught fish on streamers because there was no other method that I was going to catch fish on anyway, and normally at this time of the year I'd have quite a lot of fish caught on dry flies, and I would have produced dry fly videos for you, but it's impossible because there's no flies hatching and there's very little trout rising at all. The mayfly has come and gone, and it was flash in the pan, very insignificant really. A couple of fish caught here and there, but nothing of any significance. Anyway, that's the season so far. My waders started leaking a couple of days ago. These are the waders I've been using all of last season and so far this season. Now they've held out the water till now, which is somewhat of a record, because I've used, well, I won't say all of them, but I've used a lot of manufacturers, different manufacturers' waders, and none of them have ever been what they claim. I'm not here now to run down any particular brand, but there's a very high profile brand that shall remain nameless that I've had very bad experience with. Now some people may have had good experiences with them, but I've had bad experiences with them. I spent a lot of money on a pair of that manufacturer's waders, and given the description of the waders and given the high profile name of the company and the cost of them, I would have expected far better. But they didn't last a season. In fact, they didn't last half a season. There was 57 holes in them halfway through the season. Now you might say, I'm giving them a real hard time or that, but I'm not. I'm just doing what I've always done, my ordinary fishing. Now I've had people say, oh, but I've had a pair of that manufacturer's waders for 10 years without a leak. And you may well have had, but you don't fish like I do. A lot of people that make those claims, I've had X waders for so long and never had a leak, they're not putting them through any hardship. They're not putting them through their paces, in other words. They're fishing in and stepping in out of boats, or they're fishing from places where there's no or relatively no obstacles. I'm fishing in places where waders need to be able to take some hardship. That's it. I mean, some of them have names on them that imply that they're able for hardship, that they're produced, for instance, for guides. Now a guide fishes every day, or virtually every day. They're out a lot. So the implication being, if you buy guide waders, well then they're going to be better than other waders, and they're going to be able for hardship, and they're going to be able for daily fishing. I've found the direct opposite to be the case. 57 holes in one pair of waders in half a season. That's given the money I paid for them, to say I was disappointed would be an understatement. In any case, I've now been wearing these. These are Orbis Pros. Now these are the best I've used to date. Now I'm not here to promote Orbis particularly. I have no connection whatsoever with Orbis. I don't gain anything from promoting their products or anything. All I'm doing is I'm telling you my direct personal experience. And these waders have to date been the best that I've experienced. I've had a full season, and I've had the first few months of this season, we'll say. So a season and a half, and they've just started to leak. And where they started to leak, you'll see now that these things are hanging off, of course. These, I don't know, what do they call them? They cover over the seams. They're falling off. Right? I'd expect that anyway, after a season and a half. They started to leak just here on this seam. I felt it on the back of the left leg. I got wet here last day out. So what I did was I brought them home, I turned them inside out, and I poured water into the leg. And then I saw the water appearing out where the holes were. There's more than one hole, there's 5 or 6 holes along the seam, but they can be quite easily fixed. And given that I got 57 holes in the other ones in half the time, these are a huge improvement. Now, these are not cheap either. They don't come cheap. Orbis Pros are not cheap. They're expensive enough, but they're half the price, or generally speaking, of some of the other brands, some of the top models in the other brands. There's top models there, and they cost enormous amounts of money. I mean, it's literally a disgrace, the price of waders. I find it very hard to reconcile modern technology with waders, given the technology that we have available to us these days. That some manufacturer is not able to come up with a product, waders, that are able for hardship, that are able for the kind of fishing that I do. Now, I'm not saying that I fish any, I do, I suppose, really, I go to out of the way places. I don't just step in and out of a boat, or I travel the banks of rivers, and I'm negotiating hedges and ditches and thorns and stuff, and I take general care of them. I have white barbed wire, of course, and if there's real thorns and that, I'll try to avoid them best I can. But like, if you have to take care and mind waders to the degree that would be required, I mean, it can take some of the enjoyment out of your fishing, you know, when you're trying to mind your waders all the time. I like to just put them on and forget them, just go fishing. So, like I said, these are the best I've had to date. Now, there are probably other ones out there that other people may have had experience with that are as good or better, maybe. I'd love to hear from you if you have that experience. A friend of mine recently told me that he had used Patagonia, and he said that they were good. Now, the level of, I didn't actually make much of an inquiry with him as to the level of hardship he had put him through, but there are other manufacturers also that whose waders I haven't tried. So if you have used waders and you fish the sort of places that I fish, or if you fish like I've described, it was kind of rough and tough in and out of it, getting in and out of the river, the banks are not manicured, far from it in fact. If you've had waders like that and you've had a good experience with them, I'd be very, very pleased to hear about it, or if you have recommendations. But there's little point in telling me that you've had a pair of so-and-so's waders for 10 years or 5 years or whatever the case may be, never had a leak, blah, 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 but you need to be putting them through their paces. That's the bottom line. And I'm fixing these, but I also have a brand new pair of these. I bought another pair as well, and to have them in reserve in case these ones did go belly up. But like I said, I'll fix them quite easily, and I'm hoping that I might get the remainder of the season out of them and save my new ones for next season. That's all going according to plan. That's my little blurb on waders, I suppose. I cannot think of much else to say about them. The rest of the season, I'm hoping that the weather is going to improve, that it's going to settle, because it's just all over the place. I've never seen anything like it. It's getting progressively worse. The last 4 to 5 seasons in particular, there's been huge changes, and it's happening really, really quickly. Nothing is predictable anymore. If you went back a number of years, you could predict to a large degree what would happen from week to week, or sometimes even from day to day, but like, it's just gone completely haywire. I can't make no sense of it anyway. So I'm hoping the weather is going to settle down, and I'm going to be able to make a couple of dry fly videos, because I fished very little dry fly this year, and that's, as anyone who's been watching the channel for a while will know, that the dry fly is my favourite way to fish, and I'm hoping to get back to it soon. So when that happens, I'll make you some more videos, and in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, if you're not already a subscriber, you might consider subscribing to the channel. Anyway, press the old like button, that helps the channel. And if you really want to help me out, there's a link in the description to my Patreon page, where I'd be grateful for any little bit of support. So, Sinna bhfuil uaimse, don tráseo, go raibh míle maith agaibh for Corluader. Thank you for your company, and Cí Meharí Shiv on Céadú Rala. I'll see you again next time. Slán go fóill.